What is up, y'all? Welcome to Power Talk 11. It's pretty crazy that we've been doing these almost a year. I'm super excited. I'm super blessed to be able to spend time with you, especially getting ready for Team Spirit competition. And tonight we are going to talk about how to take action. And so if you haven't done so, this is a great talk to have your notes ready, to get ready to make a plan, because this is a talk where we are going to put it to use. Like, this is more workshop. This is like half power talk, half power hour, half pep rally. We are going to have a lot of fun. We're going to make a lot of stuff happen in this hour, and then kind of map out your next couple weeks, couple months, until you actually do the things you say that you want to do. Because I know you guys are all saying that, hey, all these dreams I have, I got these big dreams, but I'm hoping that this catalyst is, or this power talk is the catalyst to those dreams actually coming to life. Okay, so first things first is I want to just kick this. I want to get some love. I want everybody to grab their cell phones, and I want to take action right off the top of the power talk. And I just want you to send a quick message to maybe a mentor of yours above you, or somebody who you see a lot of promise in. And I just want you to tell them that, hey, like, I see you, or I appreciate you. So if it's a mentor, somebody you've seen, somebody who's helped you get to where you are today, I want you to say, hey, you know what, like, thank you for that. Like, I appreciate you. That's helped me, get there. I just want to say I appreciate what you did for me. And then if there's somebody below you who you see promise in, who you see potential in, if you could give them a text, like, hey, you know what, I just want to say I've been seeing you working. I appreciate there. I see a lot of promise in you. Keep it up. So kind of something like that. So 2 text messages. And then as those come back tonight, I want you to post in the chat, if you feel comfortable posting them in the chat, saying, hey, this is kind of the reaction I got. And so we're going to do some live recognition right here on the Power Talk. Right off the bat, we're going to take some action, get one of our 4 vital behaviors out of the way, and kind of set the tone for talk, because I want these wins to be coming back. So you're going to be, how many people we have? Almost 50 people are on right now early. If we give 2 each, that's almost 100 people that we're going to give wins to, and then watch kind of how that comes back to all of you. I think that'll be very cool. But so how this talk is going to work, let me outline it there, and you guys just hold on, get ready for this ride. But I'm going to talk about how to find the fire, right? Like, if we're going to take action, it's going to be more than just finding your why. We've done that. So if you want to have more practice about finding your why, you can go back to some of the previous power talks. But this is more about finding your fire. And then not only finding it, but creating your fire. Because it's one thing to have fire, but a lot of the times to have that fire, to implement stuff, you have to create it. You have to search it out. You have to make it happen in your own life. And that's what I've been tasked with. I'm going to kick off the call. I'm going to kick it over to Anna, and she's going to help you reverse engineer your goals, so that those things that you want to do, they're going to be broken down into small actionable steps that you can do to get to where you want to go. And then we have just kind of brainwave after brainwave to help you do it. And when we were brainstorming this talk, there's so many people who's like, hey, I'm going to add value to this. I'm going to add value to this. I was like, oh my gosh, everybody needs to hear this. And so I don't know about you, but some of my favorite summit speakers is mine is Trina Gray, and she is so good about just bullet pointing, like, super implementable, actionable things that you can use right away. And so I wanted this power talk to be one of those things where if we do our jobs right tonight, you will have pages of notes of stuff that you can actually start doing tomorrow. Yeah, Trina Gray. Actually, Trina Gray is, I don't even know if she knows who I am, but one of the first things I listened to was a talk from hers when I was like a 1-day-old coach, and totally got my mindset right for amazing things. And I love her teaching style, right? And so this power talk is about getting you guys steps that you can use. Sound good? All right, so We have team spirit. So this is why we want you to implement, whether you are on the New Wave team or you're on another team, if we all can help each other win, then that's a positive thing, right? And so team spirit's coming up in November. We're going to help people put the stuff into use so you guys can start getting dividends from it in November, and then hopefully springboard from those wins into January, and just keep leapfrogging win after win. And so there's that place where you want to go, all of a sudden you'll be at the top of the mountain looking like, okay, I'm here. Now where else can I go? Now where else, what other cool thing could I do? Now that I have this under my belt, what more can I accomplish? Because that's the cool thing when you accomplish your goals is you start to believe that you can do more. You can believe that you can do bigger things. Okay, but let's kick it off with talking about your fire and where does your fire come from? And it's kind of a tricky subject to teach, right? Because it's like you guys all like, hey, I'm not getting stuff done. Like I just keep pushing, I just keep not implementing, I keep learning, I keep doing all these things, but the parts where I win, the parts where that thing that I've been working on comes through, that hasn't happened yet. I was supposed to get it done months ago and I'm still working on it. So how can I change it in an hour, right? Or in my 12 minutes that I get to talk to you? Like, how do I get to like my magical words, flip something in your brain and all of a sudden you do it, right? That's a pretty tall ask. But I'm going to do my best effort. One thing I am really good at, y'all, is getting people to do more than they thought they can do. Whether it's been Team Cup, whether it's been people in the mastermind, people on the Power Talk, working together, you can do more than you think you can. And that's what I hope to do, is get you guys to tap into that part of you that exists. Maybe it hasn't come out in a while, to get to do more. So I wanted to think about times in your life where you've got some stuff done, like crazy fast, like you're just like a machine, you got stuff done. And think about it like outside of even Beachbody, right? Like when does that happen? Like for me, like what if the mother-in-law says she's coming over in 2 hours and the house is a mess? Like you freaking clean that house, right? Like that house is getting cleaned like crazy. Farmer reference, if I'm baling hay and like it's gonna rain, like it doesn't matter, it's like I'll bale at 14 miles an hour, it's so rough, I'm like holding on, but like I'm riding this tractor like a bucking bull, y'all, because like I gotta get it done, the rain's coming, right? Like it's crazy, I have to get it done. Comfort goes out the window, right? I have to get it done, I don't have time to wait. Stuff gets done. Like honestly, this Power Talk, some of the stuff, like because I've been so busy, has got pushed to the last minute. We got a lot done today to get to this point. I'm not gonna lie. Like we got some crazy amount of stuff done up against deadlines to get stuff done. I want you to think, like when your child fails to mention they have a science fair project due tomorrow. Yeah, you're getting a whole science fair project done in a night, right? Like you're getting that done. You're like, oh man, this is gonna take 2 weeks. Nope, you only need one night to get it done, and it totally happens, right? What if your child's like super sick and the only pharmacy is open is a 24-hour pharmacy like a couple towns away? Like, you go and figure out a way to get it done, right? There's a lot of way, like one. So let's talk about those situations and why do you tap into that place where you rise to the occasion, right? All of you rise to the occasion for different things. A lot of you rise to the occasion for dumb stuff too. Like who here is like watches 2 episodes of Netflix, all of a sudden the whole season's down in like less than a week, right? Like you just watched 24 episodes in 7 days, right? Like, because that stuff took over and it's like compulsive, like, oh, I'm really busy, but sleep got put under, freaking House of Cards is out, I had to watch that, right? Like I've totally done that, right? So we find time to cram stuff in for different things, right? So how can we hack that to use it to do productive things? Okay, so here's kind of my brainwaves on that is, one, you got to find your fire, right? So one is a deadline where, there's a consequence if you miss a deadline. Okay, a lot of us as CEOs of our own business, we can set deadlines, but is there a consequence if we miss it? You know, like, hey, my mother-in-law's coming over and the house isn't clean, like she's going to know and she's going to mention some stuff maybe to somebody else, right? Like there's going to be a consequence, right? If the science fair project doesn't get it done, you know, that becomes an issue, right, in class. Like there's a consequence. What's the consequence in your business if you kick it down a month, right? Hey, I'll just do it next Monday, next, you know, I'll do it next month. How can you, so when I talk about creating your fire, part of that is putting a consequence on it, right? You know, rather than just setting a goal, that's not enough. You need to set a consequence if you don't meet that goal, okay? So think about ways you can do that. That's going to be different for everybody, but you need to tap into kind of your motivational language. If you guys haven't watched the second Power Talk, I talk about what is your motivational language. You know, whether it's having a reward system at the end of meeting your goal, whether it's having a hater because you just don't want to make them right. Like you'll go out of your way, you'll sacrifice yourself so you're like, you know, like the haters can be wrong, right? Like you're gonna prove those haters wrong, right? Some of you don't need this opportunity bad enough, right? It's you're comfortable being good. You're comfortable at the place you are. Like that is comfortable. What's robbing you of being great is being good. Like you're okay right now, and that's fine. Where's the incentive to be great? Because it's in you. It's available to you, but you're too comfortable being good. You're not desperate enough to be great. And so things that have helped me personally is being around amazing people who are doers. Whether it be the Team Cup teams, whether it be the mastermind, the people that I hang around with, the people that I have conversations with, they're getting stuff done. So if I slack off, if I don't get stuff done, then you know, I feel it. I feel like I'm letting them down, or I'm not pulling my weight, or I'm not keeping up with amazing people. A lot of us are trying to run teams with a bunch of discount coaches whose hearts aren't in it, right? And it feels like we're pulling everybody. We're pulling these people. And so when we let it down, all we are doing is going to the pack, whereas we're not spending enough time around people who are ahead of you, doing more than you currently are doing now, that are bringing you up to their level. And so if you can audit the time that you're spending with people, you know, in all areas of your life, how much of it is you trying to pull people to come up to you, and how much of it is you just trying to get in circles of the people you want to be? So if you start to look at that, I think that's why Team Spirit is so great. And this month is, you know, I'm going to give a lot of this time, and a lot of the leaders are stepping up in this group to give time to give their best stuff. That's why it works, is people who are doing what you want to do are giving to everybody. And so if you want to start hustling, you need to just, hey, like, I want to spend more time with you. I want to work on a project with you. I want to see how you operate, because the more you actually spend time with the people who are doing or operating on the level that you want to operate, you will just naturally come to that level. Okay? And I want to mute somebody else. Hold on, let me just pause this real quick. Is that good stuff? Give me some feedback on that. I'm so bad about paying attention to the chat, but I hope you guys are taking a lot of notes on that too. But you got to find your fire, and that's bigger than your why. And sorry, y'all, my computer, if you guys didn't catch it, it's being a little weird. I hope I'm still coming in all right with you all. So spend more time with people who are pushing you, and don't feel like you're pulling everybody, because it gets really easy to just go back down to the level of the people you're pulling along. Okay, what else pushes your fire is coming through for yourself. When you start to set goals with the time and you have a consequence and you rise to the occasion, like Rebecca, if she knows that, hey, like, she's like one of the most clutch persons that I know anyway, but like she gets it done, like they're gonna have a conversation like, hey, let's plan this out better, but she knows that it's in her to get it done within a day, right? When you start to come through for yourself, you know that it's in you to rise to that occasion. Maybe you can't operate that on that level like 24/7, but in a pinch, if you need to rise to the occasion, you've done it. Okay. And so that gets contagious. And once you start to do it for one, doing it a second time isn't as hard as the first time. Doing it again, and then you just get this expectation of yourself is, you know what, I come through for myself. I do what I say I'm going to do. The problem with that is the reverse is also true. If you start to let yourself down, it becomes easier to let yourself down the next time. And so as we talk about creating action plans, to hitting your goals, to actually doing action steps and holding yourself to the fire, not giving into the consequence of you failing, as that stuff takes hold in your business and you start rising to the occasion, like, have integrity with that goal setting. So I want to toss it over to Anna, and I don't see her. Is she? So Anna, I don't know if you want to unmute yourself, or I hope you're on. If you're on page 2, there you're on page 2. So on my screen, she's on page 2, Anna Green. If you want to find her there, or go to speaker view. But she is going to talk about, creating a big idea. That place, a lot of us, we don't take action because it's too big. I don't know where to start, right? Like, I want to do it. I know what I want to do. I kind of see the big picture, but I don't have the stair steps to get there to actually make it come through. And what Anna does so well, one, this was kind of like her brainwave for this call. But then two, what she does is that when it does get a little stressful or hectic, she is such a calming force, and she comes through in the clutch. She comes through just systematically. Like, she doesn't wait till the last minute because she just has stuff ready. She makes it look pretty. I don't know. It's unbelievable what she does. So as far as being organized and getting to where you want to go, I don't think there's anybody more qualified than Anna Green. And she is going to help you take that idea that you want to implement and create a plan that you can start today.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy. I appreciate that very much. So let's just bump it up in the chat a little bit. I want to know how many of you have that feeling where you've got maybe 5, maybe 20 different ideas of things that you want to do. You feel like you've got to get your event invite going so that you can get your event going, so you can meet Success Club, so you can prep everything for November, and then you've got to get your freemium, and then you've got to get your website going, and then you've got to get your landing pages, right? Everything. Even as I was just saying that right now, like, my shoulders are tense, the neck is tightening up, and I'm looking at the chat. It's like, me, yes. Okay, everybody, breathe with me a little bit, right? So that's one of the first things that I try and do with that is realize when I'm feeling that overwhelm. And you feel it mentally, but you also feel it physically, right? Like, just like I just mentioned, my shoulders, this area right here is where I carry it all. So if you feel that happening in your business, that's the first sign that you need to, like, time out, take a second, take some deep breaths, do some meditation, go all zen, whatever you do, go do a killer Cordyceps workout, but just take a breath. The worst thing that you can do when you find yourself in that kind of a situation is just say, I got to power through it. I just got to do it. Take a second, bring it back down, find your happy place, and then break it down a little bit. Break some of your goals down. Figure out what's the first priority, right? If your first priority is whatever it is to you, maybe it's meeting Success Club this month. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's creating your freemium. But I want you to think for a second, not just listen to me, but actually think, what is the top priority for you right now in your business? What one project is it that if you get that done, then it'll kind of not only give you the momentum internally in your spirit, but then you'll be able to use that repeatedly over following events or different projects. So you need that one step before you can get to step 5. You have to do step 1. What is that one project for you? Again, put it in the chat if you want to, or just write it down in your own little notebook, whatever that is. So that's kind of the first thing, is prioritizing. What is it that you actually need to do right now? And if you can't, oh, my sound is off. Can I be louder? I am on an iPad, so we shall see. I turned it up a little bit. I have some headphones. I have no idea where they went. Oh, there they are. Okay, so I'll try that too. So, yes, the biggest frog, right? The biggest frog, exactly, Joe. So when you take that, again, if you're having trouble even prioritizing what it is that you're wanting to do a brainstorm, do a brain dump. And by that, I don't mean figure out all of the different steps of everything, not to start with. Just do a brain dump of ideas. Do a brain dump of things that you feel like you're struggling with, that you're trying to figure out. I don't know what to do. Brain dump all of it. Get it all out of your head. Get it all onto a piece of paper. And then just that is freeing, and you can look at that and then maybe be able to say, oh, okay, that needs to come before this. This needs to come before that. That needs to come next. So that's kind of the first step. Once you get that, you find whatever project you want to work on first. And then you create a page. I've got notebooks filled with this kind of stuff, just scribbles at first. You create a page to break that down. So if you are, let's say you're building a freemium is top on your list. Okay, that's your goal. What are the tasks that come in underneath that to be able to build that, right? What's the first thing you need to do? Maybe you need to brainstorm if you don't even have an idea what your freemium is, right? Okay, then you figure out what the freemium is. Well, what you need to kind of whiteboard that and get some ideas down, get some bullet list of what elements need to be included in that. If it's a free clean eating guide, you need a shopping list, you need recipes, you need all those things, right? Go through and figure out what all the tasks are that you need for that particular project. And then again, it's just breaking it down, breaking it down. So when you get through all of those tasks, if you find there's a big task like creating a landing page or creating a funnel for that through your website, that's more than just one thing to do, right? So when you get the big tasks, break it down again. What are the smaller tasks that need to be done inside of that? When you get all of that stuff, you're going to find yourself, even though you have more detail on there, you're going to be less overwhelmed because you have a better idea of what you actually need to do, and not just this pie in the sky, oh, I need to do everything, right? You've got it broken down and you know what it is that you need to do. So when you get to that, then you can start assigning priority to the tasks. So what things on those tasks need to happen first? The first thing you need to do if you're building with freemium, the first thing you have to do is figure out what you're building, right? Building that landing page isn't going to help you if you don't know what you're building. And if you want to put it together in like a Word document, you want to make it pretty in Canva, that's obviously the Word doc needs to happen before the Canva part, right? So you put those action steps in there, kind of timelines. How long do you think it's going to take you to build that first freemium, to make that document inside of Word? How long is it going to take you to make it pretty? I know it takes me longer to make it pretty than it does to just drop it down, that kind of thing. Sorry, my daughter just walked in the room. I might have a visitor. So when you break that all down, assign those timelines, figure out how long you think it's going to take. No, sweetie. Come here. Okay, you can have that. Sorry, guys. My husband's out of town. Yep, you can take that. That's okay. Okay, what are we talking about? Ooh, careful, sweetie. Okay, thank you. Sorry, guys. Squirrel, right? Total squirrel syndrome. It's a squirrel in my room. Come here. Come here. It's okay. Oh, come here. Okay, it's okay. Hi. Look, we're talking on here to everybody. Hi. Hi. Okay, you can see me. Yes, life of a mom. Seriously, right? Okay, so you break it down into the smaller tasks. Figure out how long you think that's going to take, and then that'll give you an idea of how long the project's going to be, right? If you just pie in the sky and say, oh, I want to have my freemium done in a week. Okay, is that really realistic? You kind of don't know until you break it all down, figure out what the tasks are, figure out how long you think it's going to take you, figure out how many times the squirrel is going to come into your room and interrupt you when you're doing things, that kind of stuff. You are hilarious, Nora. What else here? So then once you get it, you probably got like 3 or 4 different sheets where you've got everything written out. And then take it, put it all into a Word doc, whatever you need to do. Yes, speaking of squirrels. Mom, I would go downstairs. You are downstairs. Go play in your playroom, okay? Okay. Thank you. I'll be right there. Okay. You come back. Okay, I will. So you put that all together in another document. So you have something clean that you can put in the front of your lovely New Wave binder or the front of your notebook. Put it on your wall in your office if you have an office, or on your poster board. I forget who it was that got white poster board and put it behind their monitor, their laptop, to kind of block everything out. That was so fantastic. But put the project you're working on right now, put that right in front of you so you can look at it and say, okay, today I'm working on this this task that's in there. And when you're planning your day and your time for tomorrow, if you've got a half-hour work block, you know what needs to come next because you've got it all laid out there. And then you can also mark it off as you go. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm a checklist girl. I love that little X or that little check mark in that box of whatever it is, or crossing something off a list. I'll write a list out of my head onto paper just to be able to cross it off. It feels good. It's a motivator. So if you have that in front of you somewhere as well as you're going through it, you're like, yeah, I got the brainstorming done, moving on, right? So once you go through all of that, don't forget as you're going through the project to revisit that task list pretty often. So you can take a look, you know, a little bit ahead, a couple of tasks ahead, and say, ooh, I totally forgot that actually I need to do something else before I can put that landing page in there. I have to get that PDF off to Pace and he can work on putting it onto my website, or I have to put it into my website, or whatever that might be. There's a step that you forgot, okay, flex it around. It's your project. Fix, you know, add in whatever needs to be added and adjust the time frame. Don't be afraid to change the dates on your project. Just don't quit your project or your goal. It was a goal and it was a project and it was important to you for a reason. Unless it just does not make sense at all whatsoever for whatever reason in your business that you're heading in a completely different direction. Maybe you just take the branding course like me, and as soon as you take it, you're like, oh my gosh, everything I'm doing, I need to go this way instead. That's okay. Change it up. Change the dates if you have to, but keep that focus. And so every time that something else shiny, another little squirrel comes in, and you say, oh, I'm working on this project, but I really have to get this project because it's shiny and it's new and it's exciting and it's right in front of me. Stop. Take the breaths that we talked about before. Do that same thing through the project. And I've got in the freemiums, I've got kind of a breakdown list for you, everything I talked about here that you can kind of break down for yourself. But just take that step back and release the overwhelm a little bit, and then break it down into those smaller pieces, those smaller sections, assign timelines to everything, schedule those tasks in your calendar, whatever you use. Mama. She came back. Schedule those tasks into your calendar so you don't spend half your time going, okay, I've got half an hour here. What do I do with that half an hour? I don't know. Let me see. Oh, squirrel, shiny mama squirrel over here, right? So I'll love to open it up in the chat to any questions. Hi, baby girl. Okay. Okay, go up and ask Emmy for it, okay? Go up and ask Emmy for it. Okay. Anybody else? I don't see any going on in the chat. I don't see any questions or anything. So thank you guys. I apologize for little Missy coming in here, but like I said, my husband's out of town. It happens. What can you do? So Andy, I'm going to throw it back over to you since I don't see any questions. Mom, come here. Mom, come here.
Shoot.
Andy, are you still on there? I think I see you.
Yeah, I think his computer is going out of whack because we're all commenting and thanking you.
Oh, there's Cheyenne.
Hey. So I think that's why he said shoot.
Oh, there I am. Am I unmuted, y'all? Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, finally. Okay. My computer wouldn't unmute. So you guys can hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to leave it unmuted so I don't deal with that again. Cool. So what's cool about Anna, right? Like she, when she comes on, like, do you see how like everybody just kind of got calmer and like, it's like it's going to be okay. Like she just puts that mindset into the room. And it's cool to just spend time around with her because big ideas are not that big. And that's kind of what I want to take or I want to give to you as well is a lot of the things that are you're failing to act, that you're failing to put into implement because you in your mind you're making it like this big idea is not, it's not as hard as you're making it sound. Like I've seen a lot of comments about, hey, I'm making a freemium or I'm trying to, and that's my big thing. Whereas like once you do it once, you realize it's not that hard, right? It doesn't have to be that big. Like Lisa, I'm not sure where Lisa, where she was with her business when she kind of joined hanging around with the mastermind, but she created an awesome freemium for you guys and it looks amazing. And she constantly is like giving us really great valuable information. And this is like more than one time she's collaborating everybody's rally cries into a wave. She's acting, right? And what's cool about that is she's spending time with us who are acting. So like she's rising to the occasion and just doing it. And like what a cool, valuable lesson that is for all of our business. Like spend time with people and like make the big things that you think are really hard. You spend time with people who are doing that right now. Watch them work. Watch how they just spit that kind of stuff out like a machine. And shadow them, kind of. Spend more time with them, and then you'll just kind of rise to the occasion. And that way, the things that you're making really big in your head right now aren't as big. But I know, and all of you guys know, like it's not always that easy, right? Like life comes, and we can tell you to do it, but you guys wouldn't be writing all these notes if you were just doing it, right? A lot of us know that anyway. And so this second half of this call is just going to be hacks, best tips, kind of bullet points of quick information of how to actually do it, and with knowing kind of what we all deal with. And I want to toss it over to Rebecca, who is on my page one, if you guys are looking there. But Rebecca is a doer. And she was on my Team Cup team, part of the Cup team that got 9th place. And what is cool about that is we were pretty far back. We scored 20 points on the last day to make the top 10 by 2, I think. And I think 9 of those 20 points was Rebecca on the last day. And she clutches it consistently. She's a doer. She gets things done. And she has this amazing system that she's implemented, like, because we ran a challenge group together to help them get stuff done. And I was like, what if you use that for like business stuff? And I can't wait for her to explain this kind of way of thinking about things, because I know it's not easy to just do the things that you want to do. It's not always that easy. But I'm going to toss it over to Rebecca, and she's going to take away some of your excuses and give you a plan for when things don't go to plan. So, Rebecca.
Nice. Am I good? Can everyone hear me? Yes, I'm going to punch excuses in the face. So I'm kind of excited to share this because it came from as a personal development book that I read. And we were kind of brainstorming with our team during Team Cup, and we were talking about how we were going to, like, we really went with this whole theme of punching our excuses in the face. My computer's being weird. Can you guys still hear me? Okay. And I've really had to do that throughout kind of my my journey of health and fitness. I've overcome a lot of really crazy, weird things that have happened to me. And I just kind of, I wasn't always this way, but I became the type of person that just decided, I made a decision that if this happened to me, then this is what I was going to do. Because it seemed like when the chance was 1% that it would happen to me, it happened every time. So that was kind of where I decided that, like, you know, when the doctors tell you that you're going to take this and the chances of you getting this are like 1%. That happened every time. So it was like, okay, well then I'm going to just go ahead and plan on it happening now, because it happened so many times. And it's kind of happened throughout probably the last 5 or 6 years of my life. So what we had talked about is coming up with an if-then strategy. And so what we implemented is we asked everyone in the group, in our challenge group, to come up with a list. And you can do this with your health and fitness, you can do this with your kids, you can do this with your business. But for instance, if you, what are you gonna do if someone quits your team? Are you gonna quit? Like, if that were the case, I would have quit probably the second coach I signed up, right? And the reality is, these things all happen for a reason. That person left the business. It wasn't the right fit for her, and that's okay, because my goal is to build a really strong team anyway, and I want my foundation to be solid. But if you come up with a plan that ahead of time and you strategize with yourself, then when it happens, it's not going to take you out of your own game. You're not going to stand in your own way. So, like, what are you going to do? I had a big if that happened to me. My husband blew his back out. And this has kind of been a process for us over the years, but we got an if that he had to have back surgery. And it was probably going to happen at the end of August or the beginning of September. So my then became, I've got to align myself with an amazing team for Team Cup to light a major fire in my business, because my husband was going to be out of work for 2 to 3 months. That's 70% of our income, and we have 4 kids. So that was really scary for us. And so it was like, that was my then. I'm going to align myself with some amazing people that I can shadow, just like Andy was just talking about. It's so true. Yes, a freemium, if you've never done it, seems like a really big deal, and it's really scary doing your first challenge group. But when you align yourself with people that have done it, and then you can just kind of see how simple it can be and how much easier it can flow. So something that happened just here recently, and if it hasn't happened to you, it will. What are you going to do when someone tells you that that they've decided to go with It Works, right? Okay, so you've been talking to them for what you feel like you're pouring your heart and soul into them, and so if they say, I've decided I'm going to go with It Works, they will literally tell you it's easier, and they don't have to put the grunt work in, the exercise. And it has happened. It happened recently. It's happened more than once with all the things that are out there. But what I decided then I was going to do was support them. I was going to encourage them. I was going to tell them, you know what? You got to do what is best for you. I'm just going to keep doing my thing. I didn't say this to them, but when it doesn't work, because we all know that this is a journey, this is a long lifestyle that we're wanting to create and help create for them and with them, we'll still be here. We're still going to be a product of the product, right? We're still doing the same, doing our jam. So I think if you guys can create, and I uploaded like the simplest list you could ever see in your life, but if you've never done Excel, it can be a little complicated. I was even trained in Excel, but it was 15 years ago and it took me a few tries. But I just made a list, and you just have an if. If your child gets you up a million times in the middle of the night, what are you going to do then? Are you going to do your workout that day, or are you going to not do it? Of course you're going to do it. You're going to work out like it's your job, because it is your job. Just always have these things implemented. What are you going to do if you get called to the school like I did today because my son couldn't follow the rules at after hours? Well, that impeded a little bit of my afternoon. But if you always have these things in place, then you don't allow yourself to stand in your own way, because that's really what happens when you let an excuse stand in front of you. You're just letting yourself stand in your own way. I think that's all I have, Andy, unless someone had a question.
No, that's great. Yeah. And so what's cool is now when you have a bad day, when you didn't get something done in the day, you should have a list of ifs, because stuff came up, right? Otherwise you would have got stuff done. So now on the day where you didn't get closer to your goal, you have a list of ifs that you can go back. This is how I'm going to do it better the next time, right? So, and then keep adding to your ifs. If this happened, because I didn't see that coming, but it happened. So if it happens again, next time I'm going to do this, and have this list of integrity. So as far as your notes, your worksheet, you should have, where does your fire come from? How ways you can manufacture your fire. That thing you want to do, you're going to place it there, and then using kind of Anna's techniques, the stair steps, you get there, and then a whole bunch of if-then statements for the excuse to help you kind of get in the way. And what I want to do next is go to Elizabeth, who is on my page 2. What I love about her is when Team Spirit was announced, she was like rallying the troops in the Who Knows a Guy group, and just so it's like it was announced that day, and she was like, hey, let's go do this too, and we were doing that in New Wave, and now we've kind of aligned to kind of take over the world as these like New Wave ninjas. But Elizabeth is a doer. She's a real estate agent, and she's a people mover. She motivates people. She gets them together. And when we were talking about this Power Talk, she has a really unique perspective from kind of her background as a real estate agent, and wanted to talk about kind of the dips, or like when it doesn't go well. And then I'm going to lead her in and talk about being bold, and then what she can do as far as kind of this alliance and moving people with Team Spirit to come over those dips, to be bold and doing stuff together. So I'm going to turn it over to her, but I'm really excited for what she's got to say.
All right, thanks, Andy. So you'll have to bear with me. I'm holding my phone out at the soccer fields. What I wanted to talk about is kind of what is a dip. So for me, the definition is a dip is that inevitable moment when life happens. It's often sudden and unexpected, and a dip can derail your business, your health and fitness, and your life goals. So what are some examples of dips that you may have seen in your life? You may have had yourself or a spouse get laid off from your job, a major illness, and even some unforeseen expenses, an issue with your AC at home went out, or your car broke down. And then there's even smaller dips, like the kids going back to school or starting sports, maybe a big wedding or a family vacation, things like that. When you see something coming that's a dip, that could cause that dip, you could kind of plan ahead. But what happens when you don't see it coming? So for me, here's where kind of the personal experience came in. I set some big goals in 2015. I wanted to go on the Success Club cruise, and I wanted to have the cruise dollars, which meant I needed to make Success Club All-Stars in 2015 and sponsor 12 coaches. I really pushed, and I got there. I had this huge momentum going, but in September of 2015, some big things in my life happened. First, I got laid off from my job in the oil and gas industry. And then second, the very same day, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. We were very blessed that where we had moved to is very close to MD Anderson, which is a very big, prominent cancer facility. So she came and lived with us for a little while so that I could bring her to all of her treatments. But in doing that, it was a blessing that I was able to be there for her, but it also threw a huge wrench in our lives, my perfectly structured schedule, and just my plans. My momentum kept me going through the end of the year, but what I found out was that come January, I had not put the effort in at the end of the year that I'd been putting in all year for over a year before that. So it just kind of stopped. And then you just kind of look at it and you go, well, where do I go from here? So when Summit rolled around and I had a coach, a personally sponsored coach who had already told her she could ride with me to Summit if she comes with me. So I made that commitment and we still went. I came out of it more motivated, and now I'm looking at my life and going into real estate and with my Beachbody business as, okay, how do I get this back going? So what I learned was it's important to be aware of what's happening in your life and have a plan in place to get you back on track quickly. So some of my tips are that you have have your core action items written down and make them habits. So whatever it is that you do on the daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, have that in writing. These are your core items. And for us, a lot of that stems around, inviting and doing your workout, being a product of the product, those things. But have whatever it is that you personally do, whether it's running a free challenge group or any of that, written down, and then stick to that. If something major happens, also you'll be able to go back and look at it and say, okay, I know I'm off track, my mind's in a different place, but I can look at this list and say, these are the things I need to do today. My second tip is to have an accountability partner that knows your goals and check in with them. Whether it's just one person or a group, like some of the people were saying previously, have people that are working with you, that are also working and building their business, not people you're pulling along behind you, but people you're steadily working beside. And even possibly some people that you're working to be more like them, because those people will actually hold you accountable. Whenever you have a call and you check in and you say, I haven't done anything today, they'll say, okay, what are you going to do today to make it right? What do you need to do to get back on track? And then have an action plan in place to jumpstart you when you need it. So especially if you have an accountability partner that knows what that action plan is, you could put that into place quickly and just get right back on. So those were my big things, Andy.
No, that's great, and that's so good. And because everybody has dips, right? And we talk about the good stuff. A lot of people share their highlight reel. And then what happens when you go through the dips? You kind of just fade away, because it's not exciting to share. It's not exciting to come with, hey, this is what I'm getting done today, because you just feel like you're failing and you just don't want to be kind of around that environment when you're letting down. But everybody goes through that. And I think it's important to have a strategy to deal with it. And then, work to climb out of the dips so you can come back there. Don't let a dip become a crater, right?
Right. One of the big things I found was that one of the laws in my real estate business, the coaching I go to there, was what you focus on expands. So if you're focusing on that negativity, whatever that problem was that came up in your life, if you're focusing on that and spending all of your energy, it's just going to draw in more negativity. And for me, that's kind of what happened. It just kept building and building. But if you focus on your core activities, if you say, okay, this is where my life is, this is the negative part, and I have to deal with it, but let me focus on my core activities. Let me focus on getting that workout in and eating healthy, because in my personal development's a big one. Then you're focusing on that, it'll lead to more positive things.
Love that. I love that. Such good advice. I that was some huge brainwaves for me, and I was like, oh, Elizabeth, I got to have you share that. And Elizabeth is going to be one of the leaders to help lead the New Wave Ninja team for Team Spirit, and so she's part of the kind of the people who are going to help us do some amazing things in November. And if you're in a dip right now, it's like, hey, you know what? We've gone through them, and we can climb out of them too. So who feels like maybe they're in a dip right now, right? Like last Power Talk, we talked about getting out of a slump. And I thought that this Power Talk was a great chapter 2 to that one, right? Like it's a great next step is like, hey, put it into action. And so if you didn't catch that last Power Talk about, getting out of a slump, go do that. But I think this take on it is a little bit unique too, right? And super valuable. I want to actually shoot it over to Cheyenne right now. And she went through a dip, and actually she's like firing on all cylinders now. Like you guys, we had this chat going on before the call, and she's like, I'm not working because I'm working so much doing Beachbody stuff, and she's climbed out of it. She's gonna tell a sad story that's gonna turn happy, and then we're gonna use her as something I don't even get away yet, but we're gonna use Cheyenne in a pretty cool way after she tells her story. So Cheyenne, why don't I shoot it to you? I want you to tell the story of kind of your dip. And then we're gonna climb out of that and bring the call home with our secret into the call stuff. So
Thank you, Andy. Can you guys hear me properly? Perfect. Okay. Yes. So I'm so glad that my boss isn't on this call because literally all afternoon we had some really big news at work today, and someone got laid off. A manager got laid off, which was huge. But all afternoon, I was just thinking about this call and thinking about my business and thinking about, in any job, you're not secure, right? So we're lucky enough that we have this either side business or full-time business so that eventually we can get to that point where we're not worried about getting that call into the HR office to tell you that it's your last day. So I was working on my business all afternoon. Like it was bad, like really bad, but whatever. Nobody needs to know, right? So my dip, my slump, I have been in the biggest slump, I feel like, for like ever. So just to let you guys know, I started coaching at the end of October last year. And, things were going really good. First of all, I signed up, went on vacation for like 3 weeks. So I didn't really know anything about, Success Starter, all that kind of stuff. And when I actually found out what Success Club was and Success Club points, challenge packs, like I knew nothing, guys. When you say I started at 0, I started at maybe like -50. I knew nothing. But being the person that I am, I researched a whole bunch of stuff. And then November, I got Success Club. December, I got it. And then from then, I was like, well, I just want to go 12 months. Like this is a non-negotiable for me. And then May happened. And I broke my streak. I didn't get not 1 point, not even one, guys, not even one to say that, something happened. No, it was 0, like 0 points. I don't know if you guys know how that feels. Well, I'm sure everyone knows how that feels, right? When you have like a streak in your mind and you want to get to that point and then you end up with a big fat 0, that was hard. It hurt. And it just so happened that it was at the time where things were really quiet with me and my success partners. And for like the 2 months before that, I was kind of helping them a lot, but I wasn't really getting that feedback. And then when I needed them the most, they weren't really there. So that was hard. So 0 points, month after my birthday, no support. And I just got into a slump. But then the next month I hit Success Club again. So I'm like, sweet, I'm going to start back my streak. Like this is going to work. Yeah, no, that lasted 1 month, guys, 1 month. And then ever since then, not one Success Club point. So this is since July. And then this month I got a point. I was so happy. I messaged the masterminds. I was like, guys, I got a point. Like, I haven't had a point since June. I can't believe this. I'm super happy. And ever since then, it's helped me realize, like, you know what? I like this feeling. I actually helped that person. Like, yeah, I was helping a lot of people in free groups, but the fact that I had someone that was starting a program and that was changing their life and their family, like it just like gave me this fire. And ever since then, I've just been messaging. The inviting part, I would say that was just since this week that I was doing more of it. But today, hardcore. So that was my dip, my like really hard time where I had a streak in my mind. And once I didn't reach it, I was down in the dumps for a good like few days. Like I spoke to nobody because I was not in a good mood. I was not mentally there to actually speak to anybody. But then once I shook out of it and listening to all of the power talks, and, you know, I even did that freemium on the power hour blocks to do like while you're working. And I wasn't even following it, guys. Like this is where this talk right here spoke to me, because I had everything in front of me. I just wasn't acting. I wasn't doing anything with it. So when we started talking about this talk, I was like, oh my gosh, this is for me. Like, use me as much as you want to use me. I actually volunteered. I know I'm crazy for them to use me, because this talk is what we need. If anyone is like me, where you have all this information and you just don't do anything with it, now we're going to do things with it. So I'm not going to give it away because Andy's going to talk about it later. But I just wanted to say that was my moment. And now I'm just ready to like go with it.
Well, that's cool. And it highlights something, right? Like when we're doing something, like I raise a hands, like when you're crushing it, doesn't it go in a streak? And then when you're having a slump, doesn't seem like you're on a streak. So there's power of a streak, right? Like using good streaks and bad streaks. And like when you're on a good streak, you need to like kind of course correct, right? Like there's all these little dips, there's all these things that try to attack you to try to get you off your streak. Or, you know, like maybe you're on a balance beam, you're trying to hold it off and people are trying to knock you off. But if you can stay on the balance beam, you keep going, right? Like if you stay on your streak, you're there. But it feels like if you get knocked off, it's hard just to get back up there, right? And so I want to talk about, you know, Cheyenne's like, hey, I had the streak, I was rolling, and then I got knocked off, and it's like started a bad streak. But I want to turn it over to Shauna, who is going to talk about how to use streaks, how you can create streaks in your discipline, how you can create streaks of positivity. And I want to give her a huge shout out because she's a pretty new coach, and she just hit diamond. What was it, this week? Or was it last week? So everybody give her some fist bumps for going diamond. But she is a doer. She gets stuff done, and she's going to talk to you real quick about something she's made. She's going to put in the doc section of the community, and then how you can create streaks of getting good stuff done.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so you've been in a streak, or you've had something major happen, and you're trying to figure out, well, how can I get back? How can you get back to those 4 vital behaviors? How can you, maybe you haven't really been in a slump, but you have this huge list of things to do, that brain dump, and you're trying to figure out, oh, where do I start? How can I get this going? And what I've kind of created, and I've been using this with some of my own clients, is a 4-day streak. And see, some people can just go right in cold turkey, just, you know, do everything that you're supposed to do with a plan, and that's fine. But then there's other people like me that need to take baby steps and need to see that you're winning, that it's working, and then just keep multiplying that. So what you need to do is pick something, a ridiculously easy daily goal. It can be like, I'm going to read 10 minutes today of a PD book. It could be that you're wanting to start a blog and pick one part of that I'm going to do, such as I'm going to research what topics I want to talk about. And you're going to do that for 4 days in a row. Every day, you're going to do whatever that goal is that you've set. And each day that you've done it, give yourself some kind of very small reward. It can be that you sit and watch a 30-minute TV show that, you know, you don't let yourself have time for because you're too busy. It could be spending time in the bathtub while dad's taking care of the kids. It can be something just small, something that's rewarding yourself that you got that done. At the end of 4 days, when you've actually done all 4 days in a row of that one goal, give yourself something a little bit bigger. Maybe it's a new workout t-shirt, or it can be something as little as a download of a song on Amazon that you've wanted to incorporate in on your run. But give yourself a reward and be very proud that you've actually done that for 4 days in a row. Then pick something else off that list to start working on. Don't stop doing what you were doing. Keep that up too. But add one piece every 4 days, and just keep rolling your 4-day streaks. And the PDF that I created that's all it is you writing out what your goal is for those 4 days, checking it off, and writing down what your reward's going to be for yourself.
So good. And then, when you start a streak, doesn't matter how small it is, like all of like small wins lead to bigger wins, right? And you're a little, one, it gets you off the bad streak, right? Like a small win it breaks your streak, right? And then you start that positive streak. So if you can quit the bad streaks and start some positive streaks, like your business is totally going to get there. We wanted to talk about kind of like, we're going to tie a big bow on it, and then kind of our huge brainwave, the thing we've been saving for the end of the call. We're super excited about that. We use Cheyenne as kind of the knife edge of this project we've thought of. But how do we break a slump, and how do we get back on track with our fitness as Beachbody coaches? A lot of us use the 3-day refresh, right? Like, I went, Labor Day happened and ate pretty crappy. Now I'm going to do the 3-day refresh. I'm going to get back. I'm going to be back on it. I'm going to reset my system, right? Or 3-day refresh is also the kickstart part of our challenge packs, right? It kickstarts healthy results, right? So it's kind of like a launching pad for results. So we thought, what if we can create either a 3-day business restart or a 3-day business like kickstart to get you going or to get you out of a slump. And what is this? Essentially, this is going to be is a stop loss, right? So if you feel yourself hitting a dip, rather than letting it turn into something bigger, then you enact this. You like, hey, I'm invoking 3-day business refresh. Hereby declaring my day one is now. I'm going to do the freaking fiber sweep, and I'm going to do it proudly, right? Whatever the fiber sweep is in your business. I'm going to do the water and the Shakeology. It's all regimented, and it kind of like organizes your life. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, so you get the headache, right? Like day 2, and then by day 3, you're like, oh, I'm amazing, right? So like, I'm imagining when you have to invoke this, you're like, you hit a criteria, the stop loss happened, you revoke the refresh. Day 1, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. It's going to be great. Day 2 is like, oh, I got the headache. Like, this is tough. I'm back in it. But by day 3, like, you're rolling again, right? So how does that actually work? Okay. It's going to be vital behaviors. And Jenny Ragland, if you guys know Jenny from the community, kind of made a contract to yourself. So all of your 3-day business refresh is going to be kind of your own version of this, because you know what you need, you know how you're going to motivate yourself, but it's going to be vital behaviors. And whatever you do normally, this is like a contract to yourself that you're going to put it up a notch. So, hey, I'm going to do the hard workouts, or I'm going to send out more invites, or I'm going to listen to this one PD thing that always gets me back on track. Like, I'm listening to that for 3 days or whatever. And you're going to have extreme accountability. So we're going to use Cheyenne. Cheyenne is going to be kind of our first thing. She's invoking the first ever New Wave 3-day business refresh to get her going on this. And she's going to use everybody on this call as her accountability partner. So she's going to check in to the community of stuff she's there, and she's going to be very intentional of being like, hey, this is what I need. And what's going to be cool is when she is done, her name's going to go on a list of mentors. So have you ever seen those like coffee houses or sandwich places where you can pay for your own meal and you can pay for a stranger's meal, and if somebody doesn't have like money to pay, they can go take the note off the wall and be like, hey, here's a free meal. So our idea with this is if you want to invoke, or if you want to help somebody, your name can go on a board in New Wave. All right. And if somebody needs your help, somebody needs 4 check-ins a day, they can take your name off the list and be like, hey, you know what? I'm invoking a refresh. I need an extreme accountability partner. You and I are going to team up for these 3 days. Here's my contract. I want you to check in with me and hold it to me. Here's the moments of willpower I will need. And then as they graduate, you put your name on the board. Does that make sense? So, Cheyenne, what is your, unmute yourself, what is your first ever 3-day business refresh going to look like, and how can we hold you accountable to it?
Oh my goodness. All right. So as I wrote in the chat, when it comes to 3-day refresh, I actually don't mind the fiber sweep. Like, I like fiber. It's the vanilla fresh that I cannot stand. A thing, anyways, we need to change it for like vanilla Shaco or something. So for me, that's inviting. Like PD, I have no issues because my headphones are in at work all day long, and that's all I'm listening to. Workouts, absolutely no issue. Recognition, I love doing that. It's the inviting that I think most people are annoyed with. So what I have, well, today I went hardcore, so that was fun. Today what I did was I messaged, I'm not through with all of them, but most of my challengers that have 21-day fix, and when I was speaking with them and following up with them, they were like, yeah, I did it. Yeah. Well, you know, something came up, and I was just like, okay, well, you know, how are we going to get better? Blah, blah, blah. Today I did some tough love, and I was like, okay, I don't care what's going on. You're starting with me on Monday. And everyone was like, oh my God, I needed that. Like, yeah. Only one person was like, yeah, but I'm too busy. I'm like, too busy? You have no kids. I have a child. I work. I don't understand. And they were like, okay, fine. So today I went hardcore with the inviting, and I went like mean Cheyenne. Tomorrow, what I want to do is do some more inviting to the 21-day fix group that I'm doing, but also my free group that I'm doing at the beginning of November. Now, the reason why, because normally I would focus on like a challenge group or whatever, but the reason why I want to focus on the free group is because with Curtis, I'm really like changing my mindset, right? And I want people to get in through the freemium, get the value, and then after that, go through the rest of my funnel. So there's a lot of people that I've spoken to, however, they haven't received, let's say, some kind of freemium from me or whatever. So I want them to go through that so that I can get their email, nurture them and all that kind of stuff, and go through the rest. So I'm focusing more on my free group and my freemiums to get their contact info. And then from there, go through with the challenge group, which will be in November when I do quarter force. So awesome. That's like my mindset for the next like 3 days. Because I kind of count today, but I could do it.
Yeah, you crushed it today.
Yeah,
You're
today was
it today. So let's hold Cheyenne, and if you guys followed her during our correspondence at Summit, like She's really cool at just sharing, right? Like kind of giving you the daily, like this is what we're doing now. She's going to keep you updated, and she's going to share kind of like the struggle and the triumph of what a 3-day business refresh can do. She's going to share that real time with you in the community. And if we don't hear from her, I want you guys to tag the crap out of her. Be like, Cheyenne, what did you do today? Have you done your, so like you all have permission to tag Cheyenne to oblivion in New Wave if you don't see multiple posts today from her. And so cool. So for all of you, and then she's going to be a mentor. She's going to return the favor when you invoke that on yourself. So I want you to use the freemium from the call, which we're going to post in the community after this is over. I don't know if my computer is going to let me do 2 things at once right now, but I'll get that posted. I want you to fill out the contract of like, these are the behaviors. This is a 3 days that would jumpstart my business or would course correct me back onto my positive streak. This is what it would look like. And when I need to throw a Hail Mary, when I need to throw a 3-day business refresh, when I'm invoking this, these are the things that I'm going to do. All right, so you write this contract to yourself now when it's a good place. Then you come up with kind of things that can trigger it. I missed Success Club for the month. Boom, I have to do it, right? Like, so you come up with these things that are going to trigger it. These are your stop losses that you're going to invoke this. I missed 3 workouts in a row. And this could be your own version of it, right? If I don't get my freemium built before November 1st, right? Like these are, remember at the beginning of the talk, I talked about putting consequences on stuff. Now it's like, if I don't do this, my consequence is literally this kickstart that's going to make me overclock and have to catch up, right? So fill out your contract to yourself, and then fill out contingency or like things that would trigger that. And then when you need it, have the accountability and to flag who's ever available to mentor and have somebody hold you through it. And we're going to have this kind of give and take community around this 3-day business refresh. So do you guys get a lot out of this call? I hope you have a lot of tricks to keep you on your positive streaks. And if you start to go there, multiple tips to get you back on the positive streak. So together we're going to do some amazing things in the month of November with Team Spirit. And then as New Wave continues to grow, continues to get better, like we're just going to keep doing this. And whenever you need to come back, I'm like, oh, I need a kick in the butt. Like give this call to your team, give this call, watch this again, use the premiums and get back on track. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you guys for coming live. I can't wait to see all the amazing stuff you are actually doing. And not just talking about. So I can't wait to hear the reports of stuff that you're getting done. All right, I appreciate all of you. Look for the post with the recording call and the freemiums to download sometime overnight and definitely by the morning. And I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for another great Power Talk. Next time will be Power Talk 12. And then we're going to come back. We're going to come back first Tuesday to talk about the stuff you're getting done and talk about Team Spirit. So let's give me a fist bump, y'all. Appreciate you. Somebody screenshot that. So good. All right. You guys rock stars. Thank you. Have a great night. Go get some stuff done.